Today on the podcast, we're going to talk about networking and net worthing. I don't know whether net worthing is a word, but we're going to talk about it anyway because I want to have a discussion about the saying, your net worth is your net worth, because it's something I continually hear myself repeating. So join me for this really interesting conversation about networking and net worthing. Hey, welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Hey there, my gorgeous listener. Welcome to episode 71 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you, as always, for lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of choices out there, and I really appreciate you making little old me one of them. If you're a first-time listener, then hey, super welcome to you. I'm so pleased to have you landed here. I am, of course, the host, Jen Donovan, and it's my job via this podcast, social media, and just about everywhere else I hang out to make your business life simpler, because I know that business can be lonely, it can be hard, it can be complicated, and really it's very rarely easy, but I know it should be simple, or at least simpler. So that's my commitment to you on the Small Business Made Simple podcast. One of the ways I can make your life a little bit simpler, other than listening to this awesome podcast, is by having my like-minded business owners group on Facebook. If you're not already a member, then jump over there. I'd love to see you in my network and, just get to know you a little bit more through my Facebook group, Like-Minded Business Owners. Just go to Facebook, search Like-Minded Business Owners, or of course you can head to the show notes at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/71. Okay, so if you're in business, you could probably think of a few lessons you've learned in the last couple of months, right? Maybe during COVID-19, or perhaps just in 2020 as a collective year. I know it's a topic that I constantly have conversations with lately with my business besties, some of my clients, and of course, just myself. Always in the bath, I do my best thinking in the bath. It's a constant little conversation. And whether it's about learning who's been loyal, like maybe your loyal staff or your loyal friends or your loyal customers, or maybe it's around finances. And from now on, you'll make sure your finances are able to take a hit and will stay afloat, or maybe now you really will do those budget projections and those cash flows, because you never want to get caught with your financial pants down ever again, so to speak. For me, the biggest lessons I've actually learned is my net worth is my net worth. Let me just say that again. My net worth is my net worth. All those relationships that I've built over the past few years running a social media and marketing business, all those connections I've made online and offline, all those freebies I've done for someone sometime, all those quick chats just to help you out of a jam that I did, have all come home to roost in the last 8 weeks. It doesn't take a genius to work out that a person who runs a speaking business, which is me, had a pretty clear diary very quickly about 6 weeks ago. I had actually just won myself a $30,000 speaking gig. Like, that's just huge for me. And I was so happy, and I was jumping for joy. And I can't tell you just how huge that was. Of course, less than a week later, it got taken away because of social distancing. Of course, a few things have come from that as well. But I kind of went from, woohoo, I've won this big speaking gig to, oh, no, I haven't. Bummer. But of course, it's okay. It's like money I never had anyway, but it was just a little bit heartbreaking. But now I know I can do it. About 30% of my private clients rang when COVID-19 hit, and said they wouldn't be continuing, which was really totally understandable because even I was starting to cut back on a few things, mainly because the horrible exchange rate in US dollars. I'm happy to say that most of them have come back now in some capacity, and of course, new ones have appeared. And they've appeared because they were in my network. They've been following me or listening to my podcast, maybe engaging with me in like-minded business owners group, or maybe they've had a discovery call with me at some stage. And for them, when COVID-19 hit, it was the wake-up call they needed to get their business future-proofed, and that involved getting their marketing right. Or, of course, in a couple of cases, actually start marketing their business. I'm pleased to say that I'm almost as busy with speaking gigs as I was prior to COVID-19, but I just get to do it all from this home office that I have. And of course, homeschooling with a year 12 student and a year 11 student has its own little challenges. But of course, I'm saving so much mileage in my car being able to do all these speaking gigs from my home office. This fortnight alone, I would have rocked up probably over 1,500 kilometres in my car if I was doing all the speaking gigs that I was doing face to face. And I have to say that my business has been saved, hands down, absolutely, by my network. Now, I know one of my business besties, Kelly Briggs, who has the Business Networking by Design podcast, and was actually on this podcast on episode 44, which you can find at socialmediamarketing.com.au/44, would be absolutely loving me talking about networking on my podcast and networking and net worth, because this is seriously her jam. If you haven't listened to any of her podcasts, then go and do it for you. And as much as I wanted to chat with you about networking and net worthing, again, I don't even know if that's a word, but I'm using it. I actually don't want to make this podcast all about me, but I wanted to share my 2020 experience with you because I really want you to start thinking about your network and what that represents inside your business as far as a net worth goes. So I just want to take a little bit of a dive into this little theory of mine that your network is your net worth and see how you come out the other side. So the first point I wanted to make is you can't just network in your little bubble. You can't just network with the people that you feel comfortable with. I'm first to put my hand up and say that networking makes me feel uncomfortable. I'm kind of that person who walks into a room and picks someone out and goes, "Radio, you're going to be my bestie for the night," just so I don't have to look lonely. Even though there's probably 10 other people in the room that looks lonely like I do, and we don't even notice each other. So, of course, watch out who you pick and watch out if I pick you. You need to get out there. You need to meet people who make you feel uncomfortable, not because they think they're bigger than you or further along in the journey than you, but maybe they're just from a completely different industry. I often say, with tennis, like I always played a better tennis game when I played with someone better than me. I never quite played a very good tennis game when I had to carry somebody. So you just can't network with the people you're comfortable with or in your little bubble. Get out there, meet new people, meet people who have been in business longer than you, who have a business bigger than yours, and just learn from them. The second point I wanted to make is networking online is great, but you just need to do it a little bit differently, in my personal opinion, because online networking makes it so easy for us. We can start following and connecting with people really quite easily when we look at our online platforms. But I wanted to encourage you to do it differently, to do it personally. So let me give you a couple of examples of what I mean here. So maybe you're on LinkedIn, which is a platform that I love, and maybe you're sending a message out to someone to make a new connection on LinkedIn. Just don't click the connect button. It's so easy. They make it so easy on the platform just to click connect, and that's all you have to do. But go the extra mile. Click on the button that says send private message or send personal message, and send a personal message to them. Read something about them and use that in your message. Hey, Joanna, I can see that, you're in the retail space. How are you going with everything with COVID-19? I hope you're keeping safe. Take care of yourself. I'd love to connect. Or, hi, Amy, we have lots of mutual connections, which is just fantastic. And I thought that maybe we should be connected too. Love to connect. Whatever that little message looks like, use it. It's a way of getting someone's attention. And just a little pro tip, if someone connects with you, regardless of whether or not they send you a message, send one back. Type them a little message back and say, thanks so much for reaching out and connecting. Make the first move. Become memorable. And if you really want to become memorable, use voice message, or you could even send a little video of yourself. Something like on the Instagram and LinkedIn app, it's really easy through the apps, not so much through the computer, but definitely through your apps to be able to send a little voice message or a little video just to say, hey, thanks so much for connecting with me. So do online networking, but just do it better. And of course, if you've listened to this podcast for any length of time, you know what I'm going to say right now, don't you? It's just plain old, I say it all the time, human to human marketing, H2H. These things, I promise you, will add up to big things and even business within your business. My third point I wanted to make about your network being your net worth is it's a trust thing. I'm sure you've heard over and over, maybe even from me, that your customers need to know, like, and trust you, or know, love, and trust you before they'll be ready to buy from you. It might look a little bit differently in a retail setting where, maybe they just want the product and they're not so concerned as to who's behind the business. But definitely in a service-based business, people need to know, like, and trust us, know, love, and trust us before they're willing to put skin in the game. Giving them ways to trust you, giving them ways to get to know you, of course, is done through things like networking. If you never show up anywhere, then building relationships is going to be freaking hard. You need to show up so that people know where you are to get to know, like, and trust you. So show up. And if you're already showing up, show up more. And unless you're kind of like already a superstar, then perhaps just keep being a superstar at showing up. But try and show up more. If you're showing up, just think to yourself, could I show up a little bit more? Whether that's in video form, written form, blogs, podcast interviews, whatever it is, how can you show up a little bit more for your audience? The fourth little point that I wanted to make comes down to referrals. Now, this for me is huge. It's such a big part of when I say my network is my net worth, is referrals. Some of the big contracts that I've picked up in the last few months have come from referrals. My webinars have been full because of referrals and, of course, repeat customers. My referees, I don't know, is that a word? I'm having trouble with words today, aren't I? My referees are sometimes people I've actually never met in real life. They're just a part of my online network. But they have had the opportunity to get to know, like, and trust me, or know, love, and trust me because I show up. Most times consistently, but hey, I'm no saint with consistency. It's a battle of mine, just like it's possibly a battle of yours, but that is a whole other episode. But I do show up, even if it's slightly inconsistently, except for this podcast. This podcast is always consistent. Thursday, it'll be there, I promise. Always has been, 71 episodes in. Fingers crossed I can keep that up. My mentor actually used to talk about referrals being at the end of the buying cycle, but I really think that that's old school thinking now. Probably true when he was a good marketer, maybe back then, but now referrals actually come from people who have never even bought from you. And that's truly a trust factor in other ways because they're confident enough to refer their customers, their contractors, or people in their world to you, even though they haven't actually bought from you themselves. They just have that trust with you because of the way they've seen you show up and maybe the online or offline interactions they've had with you and your business. I really hope that my babbling about networking and net worthing really makes some sense to you, but it's just one of those things that I keep talking about and thought I'd really love to do a podcast episode and get you thinking about your network and how that relates in money to your net worth. How are you going with your building your audience? How are you going with people giving referrals to you into your business, whether or not they've been through your buying cycle? Because it's just so important. Having connections means having opportunities, and really, the better the connections, the deeper the relationship, the better the opportunity. And so many people talk about the fact that they're nervous to put themselves out there. I hear it all the time, and I have a lot of empathy and sympathy. Don't worry, I used to be that person, and even some days I still am that person. But they don't want to put themselves online. They don't want to tell the world exactly what they're doing, or they don't want to show up, or they're not confident to tell people how they can help someone. But I really want to give you a piece of advice around this that was given to me. So lean in close. This one is a little bit harsh. If you have the ability to make someone's life better, simpler, easier, happier, healthy, or healthier, I should say, the ability to solve a problem for someone, then who are you to be so self-centered that you're not willing to show up and help that person out with their problem? I know, it's harsh. I thought it was harsh when someone said it to me, but it's true. Because imagine if someone had the exact solution to make your biggest problem go away, your biggest problem in life, or your biggest problem in business, and they just didn't want to put it out there into the world because they were afraid. Wouldn't you be thinking, but I need this. This is going to help me. Please just put it out there. So that's what your ideal client could possibly be saying about you. They just need you to show up in a way that they'll see that you can make their life simpler, easier, happier, healthier, whatever that looks like for them. I'll do a podcast one day on my speaking journey. It is a story that I would love to share with you. But I have to say that I never thought in a billion years that I would have a career in public speaking. I absolutely hated public speaking, and it really had a moz on me, which is probably why I wanted to get rid of that moz. So I decided I would do some public speaking. My first big speaking gig was to an audience of about 200 people, and I was literally throwing up in the toilet beforehand, just wrecked with nerves. That was until a co-speaker came to me and said, "Jen, it's not about you, it's about your audience. They can't wait to hear the wisdom you have and take home some tips and tricks that will help them improve their business. So they don't care that you're nervous. They just want to hear what you've got to say." So it made me step back and think, being nervous, I was being self-centered. Being nervous was all about me. It wasn't about my customers I was about to chat to. I was showing up for me, not them. So I needed to flip that, and I needed to say, I'm showing up for them. I'm not showing up for me. Now, it didn't make me feel less nervous, I must say. It was my first speaking gig, but it did make me think about my nerves differently, and it helped me show up better. I'm convinced of that. And I have to say, after about 4 minutes on stage, I think I was quite fine. And you know what? Not one person came up to me at the end and said, "Boy, you look nervous. Are you okay?" Not one single person, because they were only thinking about them and what they were going to get out of hearing from me. They weren't thinking about me. What's everyone's favorite topic of conversation? Themselves. I know that's a little bit off topic, but it still highlights the fact that you need to show up for your clients and your customers so they can get to know, like, and trust you, and therefore your network can be part of your net worth. Okay, so I think I've chatted in your ear long enough about networking and net worthing. I really hope that you can see the synergy between the two. I actually really hope that you've had an experience just like me during COVID-19 and seen that the relationships you've been building over the years of your business are coming to fruition. The relationships that you've built are the ones that have become so important to you during this whole crisis. There's no other word for it. I was trying to think of a different word because it's overused. But at the end of the day, I really hope that that's what you've found too. So what's your action plan? All right, action plan number 1, start networking. And as you do, think about how you can put a personal spin on it. Be more memorable. Voice message, video messaging, be memorable with your networking. Make networking online and offline part of your future proofing strategy inside your business. Maybe get all your networking expertise from Cal. She's much better at it than I am. Go to Kelly's podcast, Business Networking by Design, and have a listen to everything she talks about, the gold in networking that she talks about. And hey, maybe join the like-minded business owners on Facebook and start your networking over there. It's a great place to network, and I personally would love to see you over there. All right, but that is all for episode 71 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. I would love for you to subscribe if you haven't already, and maybe share with another superstar business owner who's doing that daily grind and would really appreciate some tips and tricks that you've heard in here today. If you've got a couple of seconds, I'd love a rating and a review. Those things, of course, are like gold for podcasters like me. And massive love coming your way if you do that. I will see you next week for episode 73. But in the meantime, let's hang out and get social on social. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, and my favorite, LinkedIn. And of course, whatever you do this week, remember, my small business peeps, there is no point in dreaming small.
Say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.